Good morning. Let's see how my video is. Where am I? Ah, there I am. Can you see me? I'm still super white. I'm gonna get one of those ring lights that's supposed to give you some color. So I'll turn this off so I don't scare you. Or scare me, one or the other. Let's see. I've tried to get a PowerPoint going. It doesn't want to cooperate with me. I wanted it to autoplay. Let's just look at it. How's everybody this morning? I hope everybody's doing good. You guys all look good. I can see your little squares. Nice looking squares. Nice looking. Okay, what's our plan? Today, we're going to update our audio CD list app. So be sure and grab it from Discord if you need to. It's in our general 101 chat. We are going to add some buttons to make some further features. We're going to allow users to add audio CDs, update them, and delete them. And then if we have time, I'd like to do a Quizlet Live competition to study for our exam. Because we have the exam this week, we will have no scheduled Zoom meeting on Wednesday so that you can take your exam, study for it, prepare for it however you like. You can use study group collaboration notes. That's your only resource. It is in the PDF document, chapters 9, 10, and 7. Good. All right, then next week, on Monday, we will update our audio CD app to add a menu bar and a toolbar, like we practiced on last time, and we'll check the status of everybody's final project. If I didn't mention, where am I? Stop it. We can look at our final project. Sorry, I'm going sideways. All right, so that's next week. After Monday, on Wednesday, we'll do a new practice app to read and write from and to a text file. Now, in our final project right now, this is a requirement that you're supposed to read and write to and from a text file. We're not really going to get that practicing done in a lot of time for you to implement that. So that feature will be something that will be optional this semester. I would highly recommend it, but it's definitely going to be optional, reading to and writing from a text file. But we will spend our Zoom session time practicing that so that you'll know how to do it. So it is an important skill, even if you don't have to implement it in your final project. Then the week after that is the first week of May. We will plan on updating our audio CD app to read to or read from and write to a file. Again, we'll review our final project status, see if anybody needs any help. And on Wednesday, we'll review for the final. Your final exam, because our class will be considered online now, your final exam will open on Thursday, 5/7, and it will be available until 5/14, and that's the standard window for the final for an online class. Your final written exam will be multiple choice and some fill in the blanks. It'll come from the same question banks we've been using all semester. Your study group collaboration notes will be allowed, and you'll take the final exam anytime on your own during that window, 5/7 to 5/14. Now our hands-on project, again, we'll be taking a look at that in this week and next. We'll be due on 5/13, and that'll be due in TFS and Canvas. Okay, any questions before we get started with our project? About our schedule? And of course, things are subject to change, but that's the plan right now. Okay, cool. Must be super clear then. I'm going to open our project. I do actually have it open. And the one we're looking for, we bring Discord over. In Discord, in our 151 server, under the General 101 chat, find it here. We have our audio CD form list. And this is the one that we worked on at the beginning of the week last week. Last time we did the menu practice app, but we want this one, our audio CD form list. So if you don't have it or you're not sure where it is, just grab this zip file. Make sure to unzip it, extract it, and then we can open it. Mine is really still called menu app internally. I just changed that zip file name so we would be able to tell the difference. I'm going to close everything, make sure I'm looking at the right project. And to do so, I'm going to double click on my Form 1 so that I see it in design mode. Well, look, that's not the one I wanted. Sorry. It's going to be a long day. I think I opened it on top of it. I want the audio CD form, not the menu app. And I want to open my form. Make sure I'm in the right one. You can tell how important that is for me. The last time we worked on this project, we added our list box and we made it where if somebody clicks on an item in the list box, our selected index changed event procedure will run and it will see which item was selected and it will display the item's information in our detail area. Let's run that. Whenever we're working with a list like this, we'll just kind of refer to this list as our list and over here is our detail items because we're going to be able to see one individual item. I was messing with my colors over the weekend, trying to get things more visible, and you can see I've got some interesting green dollar signs. Don't be jealous. Don't be hating. I don't know how I got those. Because I made my title bars green. Okay, so my project looks great. I want to take a look at the code. I could press F7. Double click somewhere on my form. If I double click somewhere on my form, I could get an unwanted event procedure, right? But I want to take a look at where we left off because it's been a little while. And right now, I have a lot of the code rolled up. So I can right click and choose outlining. And I can toggle my outlining expansion. Back and forth. What am I doing? Why won't you undo? Edit. Toggle all outlining. Now I want to go up to the very top and kind of scroll through and look at all of the code that we have so far. I'd like to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of the unnecessary using statements, this clutter in our application that we don't need. I want to add a comment at the class level. It's our form design class. Now, within our class, as we get started looking at it, we created some instance variables, and these are going to be really helpful to us as we implement our add, change, and delete methods. We have our current index set to -1. I want to put another comment over here because this is often a test question, but -1 means no item selected in a list box. So even though we're not associated with our list box yet, we know that's what that means. So that's why we're kind of using that value. We don't want to pretend one was actually selected. Now this CD is our class level audio CD. So we want to make sure as we move from one event procedure to another that we're working with the same audio CD instance. We don't want to be switching around. Now, right here is the constructor for our form. We didn't create that. It was created for us. And so we see our constructor there. And then we already have a comment, or at least I do, for our form load. And I have the form load runs before the form is displayed. Remember, we're trying to intermingle some different kinds of documentation here. Documentation for us as beginning programmers to help us remember what this code is, as well as documentation for somebody else who's looking at it. In our form load, I have the original commands commented out that set up some default data for us. And instead, we create an audio CD array. And then we call our special class, our test database class, to generate our test data through the array. And then we do a for loop to load the array to our list box. I have a question here about this one. When you're working at home and you're practicing, I want you to see if we can do this with one line of code. You can't simulate this whole loop with one line of code, but you might be able to say listbox cd.items equals test data. Can we do that? We might even be able to say listbox cd.items equals test database.generate data and just have that data go directly into our list box. Now, I have some extra code here to really emphasize the process that's occurring or what we need to do with this kind of process, but might be able to do it in a much more efficient manner. Next, we call our enable disable method that turns things off and on in our form. So we're going to enable and disable our form controls. And then finally, we update our message area of our form with an inappropriate message. Our data has been loaded. Now our OK button, we haven't messed with it in a while. It's been a little while since we first created our application. We're going to get back to it today. But in our OK button, we're running the code that we want to run when somebody clicks the OK button. So that's why our comment says the OK event procedure is wired to the button OK button. It will update the class data. It's trash day morning, so we'll see how loud they can get. Now in my OK button event procedure, we instantiate that audio CD instance, that we've been concerned about for our audio CD. Which one are we working with? Well, when we clicked the OK button, we didn't have one yet. So we created one. We used the text box data to update it and update our genre. And then we added that CD to our list box. If you remember, this code is old. It's not really appropriate, or not all of it is appropriate for our application now. We're going to have to revise it substantially. Why is that? Well, because we've gotten a little bit more advanced than that original implementation. My cost changed event is one that's not really necessary. We put this in there as a test so that we could see how often this event would run, that it was running all of the time, every time somebody clicked in that test box. So we're going to come to back to this later and delete it, but I don't want to right now because I want to keep everybody looking at what we have. Next, we have our event procedure for somebody clicking on an item in our list. Our list box selected index changed. We have a comment, update the instance, selected index, and the detail. Okay, so we take the index they clicked on. Which line was it? Was it line 0, line 27, whatever? Grab that number and save it. Then we're going to take that CD instance based on that number out of the list box. We're not removing it from the list box, but we want to save it in our this CD instance. So all of the information about it, its album name, everything will be saved in our this CD instance. Then we're going to run our method load CD to form and update our text box message to say, yep, that detailed information is displayed. Now, in our method where we load the CD to the form, we just take the data values, the data items from our CD instance and save them in each of the text boxes and controls that we need on our form so they're ready to display. Okay? So, if we think about this, if somebody clicks the add button, we want to give them, let's look at our form here. Let's say we're going to put some buttons on our form. Add, update, delete. So the first thing I want to think about is add. If somebody clicks add, we don't really care what is in the list box. They don't really have one selected. They clicked add. So that means we want to clear out all of our data fields. We want to enable them, and we want to put the user's cursor here in the audio ID so they're ready to type that information. Make sense? Okay. Now, before we do that, though, let's think about how we want it to work if they click change or delete. We're going to have some rules. So they can't just carry, click, change, or update. They're going to have to click on an item first. So if an item is displaying here, a detail item, then we're going to let them click update. We're going to unprotect all these data fields and set the cursor in the audio ID so that they can change the data that's there. And then when they click OK, we're going to need to take all that data from the text boxes and update our audio CD instance in our list box. When they click delete, we also are going to require them to already have an audio CD instance displayed, and we're going to delete that instance from the list box. So that'll be pretty much our final thing. So the first thing I want to do is create an add button. There's lots of different ways we can handle our interface. I'm going to go ahead and create a button up here, like across the top. So I need to find my button control in my toolbox. I have my toolbox open. Remember, if your toolbox was set to auto hide, you might have to open it. We haven't used it in a few days. Feels like a long time. And I want a button. I know that that is a common control or under an all windows forms control. I'll look at my common controls. There's my old button. And I think I'm gonna put my button right up here. Where we want it to say add. We could do this button so many different ways. So a lot of people lately like to make the buttons really small, and we can do that. Make it small. And then in the text, let's just put something meaningful, like a plus sign. And then I'm gonna have to update it just a little bit to make it kind of a good size. Now that would be my add button. Let's rename that button. And I'll make it button. Now with my add button, we want to do some specific things here. We want to make sure that the user can type. So let's double click on our add button. Double click. I'm thinking, sorry. And I want to create some documentation here. So prepare the form for a user add of data. So we just want to prepare the form here, if you notice that. We don't really know what they're going to type yet. So we're not actually ready to like read in any text boxes or anything from them. We just want to get them ready. So that means we need to run our enable disable to enable everything. So we'll pass it a parameter of true. I want to make sure that I have like something to say that I'm adding. So let's say that I'm going to go ahead and set our selected index. What did we call that up here? Cur index back to -1 because we don't have one selected. And lastly, I want to put the cursor over in our text box audio ID. So I'm going to use the focus command. The focus method says, make this control be the focus of the form. So the thing that holds the cursor. Let's run that and see what happens if we click our add button. So I'm sitting over here in my audio ID. I'm ready to type some things. Do some things, and then I'm ready to click OK. So in our OK button, we're going to need to be able to handle this. They might be clicking OK because they just added some data. Let's go to our OK button. So in our OK button, we can't really do all of the stuff that we were doing before right away. First, we have to check to see if our current index is -1. If it is, we might be doing it, we're probably doing an add. Now, if we're doing an ad, we really kind of want to do a lot of this process here, don't we? Because that's kind of what we were doing originally. We were setting up a new instance. We were taking all of the text box data and adding it to that instance. And then we were adding it to the list box. So that sounds like an ad. One thing I want to check though, we are not using our this CD, and I kind of like to use it everywhere. So I think that I want to change all of these my CD to this CD. So we can do that. Let's select it. And I want to do find replace. So I can do a Control F, or I can find and replace. I'm going to do a quick replace, which would be Control H. And I want to replace my CD with what? Oh my gosh, my memory today. This CD. So specific, huh? And my find replace is already set to selection, which is exactly what I want, because I only want to do that within this area. And then of course I can use my icon controls here to either just replace the next occurrence, or I can replace all of them all at once. Okay. Now, sometimes when we use tools like that, it's easy for students to just think, I don't like that. I had this bad experience with a runaway replace one time and it messed up all my stuff, so I never used the replace. Well, remember, when you have a job, you're getting paid to be productive. So it's important to use tools that are available to you from your development environment. So we want to make sure that we're doing things like that that can, I don't know why people can be reluctant to use those tools, but they can. Bad experience. Now that should have gotten me where I've got this CD instead of that old name. So since I want all of this to be my add function, I'm just going to delete this closing double quote and move it down here. And I'll let Visual Studio do all that indenting for me and everything. So now within my add function, I've set it up to where we create a blank instance of our this CD. We use all the text boxes to update the data in that CD. We check our genre, and then we add that item to our list box. Did you get that? Just added that if statement. We're only going to do the code that we had in our OK button method if our current index is -1 to indicate we're doing an add. I'll put a comment there. We're kind of using our current index as a flag or an indicator to show us which function we're processing right now. All right, I'm going to run it then. Now, we shouldn't have affected any of our other stuff. We should still be able to click on things and have them show in this detail area. But now when I click plus, oh yuck, look, I've got this leftover stuff. We're going to have to clear that out, aren't we? But I can go ahead and try our add. I'll make this one like 88. And there we got it added in to our list. My message still says that a CD was displayed, so I need to do just a couple of little cleanup things. Let's go do those. The first thing we saw was that we need to clear all this out. We need some sort of reset. Let's add it. I'm going to go down to the very bottom because I think I want this to be right after our enable disable. They kind of go together. We'll call this reset. We want all of these things, basically. So text box, audio, ID, dot. You want to clear it? We'll clear it. We'll just do it with all of them. Be all consistent. We know that we could also just set that text property equal to double quote, or something like that. So we have all of those options. Next is our numeric up down. We need to clear. Can't do that with a numeric up down. Can we reset or some other meaningful term like that? We have refresh. How about, we can reset text. Let's try it. And after our numeric up down, we have all of our radio buttons. Now, with our radio buttons, we really want them to all be false. I was trying to think of what we wanted to set to false. What do you think? We'll just set our check property back to false. I don't see too many other ways to do it. Our hip hop. Now, if you're thinking that we could almost run that as a separate method to reset all of those radio buttons, you're right. Especially if we had multiple sets or something, we might want a completely separate method to do them. Now, here in our reset form, we're clearing out our values, but we're also going to reset our radio button. I think that's all we need in that method. Let's add a comment, document it. Prepare for data entry. Now, one thing that I did not do, I did not enable our OK button. I'm not sure if we want to do that in our reset form or not. It doesn't seem like it logically belongs. So instead, I'm going to go to my add and set that button. Okay. Because I want them to be able to click the OK button to do this add. Now I need to add in the call to our new method to reset the form. At this point, I've got the enable disable call first and then the reset form call. We could have situations where we would need to reverse that order, or where we might need to take further things into consideration on that. But let's see how things are working now. Test our application. Again, I want to click on some things first to make sure that my clear is working properly. I'm going to say I want to add. Now my cursor is in the audio ID field ready to type, and all of my form fields are cleared out, ready for me to enter some data. And then we get our new album inserted in our list box. So that's looking good. It's still here. Let's see. Our OK button is still active. Is that something that we want? After we do that add, we should probably make sure that everything gets disabled again, huh? So I don't have that right now. Let's fix that. How can I do that? Well, we're going to have to do it within our OK button. So we can't do anything about it here when we're clicking our add button, because our add button is just getting everything ready, and they've got to be able to click the OK button to actually do the add. But in our OK button, we can fix that. So let's go to our OK button. We're within our if statement. After we add the new CD to the list box, we want to turn off that OK button. Well, we don't need to do that separately. We need to run our enable disable thing, don't we? Our enable disable function will take care of all of that for us, setting everything to false. And then we decided that our message audio CD add. It's like a better message. Okay, to get all the little glitchy details. Notice how when you're working with Windows Forms, if you don't put things in the right place, it'll just keep getting glitchier and glitchier. We're putting our stuff in the right place though. So let's run. I'm going to click on something, click add, everything gets cleared out. I can click OK. My new one gets added, and now everything's protected over here again like it should be, so I can't mess it up and break the application. Okay, I'd like to see some. I'm going to stop sharing. Show me some pretty ones here. Anybody got anything, or anybody got problems that we need to look at? Fix for ya. Not seeing anybody. Nobody's going to show me as everybody's working. I really want it to be working. If you're having some issues, let's get them fixed. Everybody says working perfect. Alrighty then. We had a guest speaker in game programming Friday morning, a couple of them actually, former students, and one I was worried because they were just talking to all these black squares, you know, it's kind of overwhelming. Frankie did such a great job, but they did great too. And Derek would ask a question, like if everybody was okay or if anybody had a question, and he would just wait for a second and then he would be, okay, cool. So that's what we'll do. Okay, cool. You must have it all then. All right, so perfect. We have all our code now to say what to do when they want to add an audio CD. In our application right now, an audio CD is just something that is a class, right? It's just existing during the execution of our application. But that class could easily be connected behind the scenes to a database. So this application in C#2, when you start connecting things to the database, very, very quickly become a real world application. We have all of the stuff here. We're in pretty good shape. All right, so now what if they want to update something in our form? We need to add a button. I'd like my button to be about the same size. My first button kind of sucks. I've got to go fix that back color. Silly bug. Let's make it pretty like the rest of it. Alrighty, now I'm gonna copy that and paste it. Paste. There he is. And I want this one to be update. So I'm gonna be really, really creative and make my text property be a U. Anybody got better ideas? I'm just looking at the chat. Better ideas? Are you there? Did you see my contest in Discord? This is a big deal contest. It'll get you a duck if you win. Someday I'll get you the duck. Here's our contest. When people are in a Zoom session, but you don't think they're really there, like they're off taking a shower or something, what is the term to describe that? How do I count that in attendance? It's a pandemic, right? Okay, so our new button. Oh, it looks bad with that giant U. I'm gonna make it be like an equal sign or something. This will be our update. And then our button name, I'm gonna name it button update. Goose. Yeah, Brady, I don't know what that's done for. Okay, so I want to update. I'm going to double click it. Double click. So if somebody clicks that button, first we want to make sure they've already got an item selected. So if the current index equals -1, we don't want to do this, right? Because there's something wrong. How about I make it not equal -1? And we do want to do this. So what do we want to do? We already have data displayed over in our detail area. We need to unprotect those fields so that the user can type. Oh, okay. See, that's not where my brain was going with AFK when I'm thinking about people. Never mind. I think they're like between a ghost and away from keyboard. They're further than away from keyboard. They're just flat out pretending to be there. Okay, so if it's not -1, we have one selected. We've already displayed the data over on the side. What we need is to enable all of those fields so they can type, and let's see. We don't want to reset our form because we want to keep the data they have. We don't want to set our current index because we already know where they are, but we do want to move the cursor into our audio CD text box. So we're going to set the focus. Now I'm going to laugh every time I see that because that's not where my brain was going. Let's add a comment. Here to update the selected CD. So let's run it. And I got to click on one. And now if I click my update button, my cursor moves over here. So I'm ready to make changes, and then I would click OK when I'm done. So let's make our OK button do something. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our OK button event. In our OK button right now, we're only checking for a -1 in our index. And if we have a -1, we're doing our add. So we want an else clause. As a really good developer, I noticed that my if statement logic has a lot of code. I really shouldn't leave all this here if I'm going to start adding else clauses. It's going to get hard for others to follow. So the better thing for me to do would be to create a method. I'm going to make this be our add CD method. And in our add CD method, I'm going to take all of this code, right, that was within our if statement, and I'm going to move it down into that new method. So I'll cut and paste, you can drag, whatever. So now I've got all that code in my add CD method. Get rid of this old comment here, it's not doing any good. So if the current index is -1, I want to add a CD. Ah, so much easier to understand. Else, I either want to update, well, I know I want to update actually, because in our delete process, we won't involve our OK button in a delete. We'll just take care of it in the OK button click event. So I think that I'll say that we're going to create a method, update CD. Just to keep things clean, right? Our add CD method, add a CD to the list, and then I'm going to create a new method, update CD. So they've typed some stuff they want that stuff to replace the CD that we have in hand. So if I look at the add, the first thing we do is create a new CD, this CD. Well, we don't need to do that now. Well, we need to use the one that already exists for us, right? Because it clicked on that line, we created a this CD instance for that line, displayed its data in our detail area. So we should already have an instance available to us. But we do need this code. So if I'm going to copy this code, again, I should create a method. So I know we're getting a lot of methods. That's important for us to do. So let's do it. This method is going to be, what have we got here? Form to CD. So what I'm going to copy. From the point where we set up the audio ID being equal to our text box, to the point where we're finished determining our genre, we're going to cut that from our add method and place it in its own form to CD method. Now we can call that. Okay. So that looks good. We keep pulling more and more code out of these methods to make their own methods, to make everything clearer, easier to follow, easier to understand. But it does make it a little harder for us to find things that we want to change because we just have more methods. I want to put a comment here for this one. Copy the data entered on the form to the audio CD. Okay, so now if we're going to update a CD, we know we need to do this form to CD because they've typed some stuff. But we don't need to add this CD to our list. We need to update it. It's already in our list, right? We just need to make it this new one. So we've got our list box, and it has a bunch of items that are an array, and we can use as an index into our array, our current index, and set that equal to this CD. Because we've just updated this CD. We know it's all our up-to-date fields. Then we want to disable everything. And we want to update our message. Text box message, text equals audio CD updated. And we need a comment for that one. prepare to update CD instance. Let's run it. If we click on some things and then click our new update button, we are over here in our detail area. Let's update this thing. Now, I am changing album 7 to 5. Let's click OK. Oh, crash out there. What's it mad about? Oh, look. It says that we have a value of -1 for our index. But what's interesting is, notice we're actually running our selected index changed method. Well, we shouldn't be running that, should we? We didn't do anything to make that run. Let's set this up in the debugger. Why is that running? We should see that run when we click an item in our list. So I want to see why that's running again. I'm going to choose any line of code within this event procedure to set my breakpoint. Remember to set your breakpoint. You can come over to this gray area and click, or you can just right click and choose breakpoint. Insert breakpoint. That'll work. So now we're going to stop execution at that point. I'm going to run and click on an item, and we should see that take off, right? Because that's going to change our selected index when we click on one. Sure enough, there it is. Right now, my current index, if I mouse over it, is -1 because I haven't run this line of code yet to give it a value. So let's run that line of code. And now it should be different. Oh, yep, it's 7. That sounds right. And then I'm going to take the items from the array and add it to the CD. What am I talking about? I'm going to take my CD instance, this CD, and update it with that item that was clicked on. So now our this CD should exist. We don't see it here in our locals because we'd have to expand our this area, and then we'd have to scroll down to find this CD. Get way down in here into our items that are part of our information, and it's really hard to find, but you can set up those watch variables to watch it, because our list box even is very deeply embedded, but we can see the one that we selected there showing up. Okay, so I'm going to run my method to load that CD to the form. So we'll take all of our CD fields, use our getters to get them from our CD instance. Tracks getter, and then we get our genre to set our radio buttons properly. And that sets up all of our data on our form. Next, we're going to update our message in our text box. And we should see our form again. There it is. All right, so that took a little while to step through. Not bad. But what I want to do now is click the update button. And right away, we are back into our breakpoint, so not a problem. We're just continuing on since we were already in a breakpoint step through. I'm just going to continue stepping. So our update button, our current index is not equal -1. We're going to run our enable disable to set up all of our form fields for us to update. Then we're going to set our focus on the form to our audio ID. Now, it was when we clicked OK that we had trouble. We're fine now. We're just stepping through. So I'm going to step into, we're not at -1. So we're going to run our update CD. We're going to copy our form data to this CD instance so that anything they updated, we use our setter to update. Setter, setting our radio buttons for our genre. Okay, then we're going to try to update our list. And is this where we crash? Probably. So we're good right now. What's our current index? 7, so that should be okay. So we want to update that spot. So it's calling our toString to set up that output about our CD. Running our getters and setters if necessary. Did you notice that it was only necessary for that first one? See on that first one how I have a capital A, it's using the property. The rest are using the fields. Now, finally, this is where we're hitting our selected index changed method. At this point right now, our current index is not -1, right? It is 7. This line of code is going to change it. We don't want that to happen. Let's execute that and see. Okay, so right now it's still 7. That should be okay. Now it's -1. So this line of code here, getting the selected index, is not working for us when we're updating. We don't want this to run. So how could we keep that from running? Let's stop. I'm going to turn off this breakpoint. I really don't want any of this code to run if we're doing an update, because I want to take care of all of this stuff myself. So I think we need an if statement. If our list box selected index is -1, we don't have anything selected, right? So we don't want to do any of this stuff. So I'm going to make everything here be under that if statement. I don't even want to change the message, right? Because I want the message to say CD updated. So let's see if that takes care of our problem. It should. So what happens is when we try to put something back into our list box CD, because it was already there, it updates, or it fires the index changed event procedure, which is not what we want to happen. So I'm going to run this now and see if that if statement takes care of our problem. Choose the CD. Oh, look. Nope, it didn't, did it? Now I'm not getting anything. Why? Let's go look at that. Our selected index should not be -1 on all of those. I'm going to have to put a breakpoint in. Let's try it. Now let's run. Click one. Okay, so our selected index is 6. Oh, I did it backwards, didn't I? It should be not equal. Ah. Surely not. Debugger's just so helpful sometimes. Let's try that again. And that if statement. Oh, that looks better. I wasn't getting anything before. All right, beautiful. Now let's try to update. And hopefully my OK button will let me click it, which it will. So I'm going to click OK. Ah, and there's my updates. Okay, do you see your updates? Notice how this is one of those ones where it's hard to show you the code. So let me know what you need. The last thing we did was in our selected index changed method, we said, if they haven't selected one, if we're just running as an update or something, just ignore it. So let's put a comment there. Nothing selected, ignore. We don't want to do any processing there. Now, what else did we add? I'm going to go up to the top here. I'm going to collapse our form load and its comments. And things that we've done. In our OK button, we've changed things up quite a bit. If our current index is -1, we call our add CD method. Otherwise, we call our update CD method. Our update CD method just prepares our form for an update. Oops, sorry, other way around. This actually updates the CD instance, copies the data from the form. Here, copy form fields to audio CD. And we're going to update list item. The detail fields. And finally update our message. So not much code because we're getting things really segmented into our different methods. So it makes every method so much easier for us to use. We do have to look around a little bit more to find the right method though. Now in our add CD, we're going to add a CD to the list. We start out running creating an instance of an audio CD using our noArg constructor. And we copy the form data to audio CD. We add our CD to our list. We protect all of our fields and update our message. We created another method to do that actual copying of the data on the form to our audio CD. We didn't need to have that code duplicated for our add and our change and our display, right? So we can just copy all that information. This cost changed method is again one that we don't need. I have it unassociated from the text box. That's why it doesn't keep running all of the time. If yours is running all the time, that's why. Let's go ahead and delete it. No, wait, let's go to the form first and make sure it's not associated, because like I said, you guys might still have it associated. In your form, I'm looking at my cost text box. Find my cost text box, go to events. Make sure that there's nothing in the text changed event. Delete it. Then go back to properties to make your life easier. Now, because we unwired that event or disconnected them, we should be able to delete that event procedure without causing any errors. I'm going to delete it. Okay. If it breaks yours, let us know so we can help you fix it. Everybody good? I hope so. Okay, then a lot of the heart of our program almost is this selected index change. This is our list box update. So we just added the if statement. If there isn't anything selected, don't do anything. But if there is something selected, update our current index and create an instance of a CD, or update the instance of our CD, and then load everything. This is the opposite. We're saying, hey, we have a CD instance. We want to display its data on our form. And then our reset, our enable disable, these are just form maintenance utilities. Oops, but they need comments. And then finally, our reset form. We'll clear all the text boxes. And then we have our add button click event. Somebody clicks that button. We just do a few little pieces of things. Notice how we're truly getting to be like puzzle pieces all fitting together. And then our update button. If somebody clicks the update button. So we need to delete. That's all we need, delete. I'm going to collapse all this down. I figured out how to do that earlier, right? Toggle. Oh, geez, it only does a few. I need to use the menu. Outlining. I'll toggle all outlining. Still no good. Edit. I'm just only getting a few. It's being mean to me. I was just trying to show you the summary level. Let's go look at our class diagram instead. Now remember, we created the class diagram last time because we do have a lot of information to try and keep track of in our form class. It's getting kind of big. So we have all of our fields, all of our form controls, and then our methods. So it's kind of neat with our class diagram here. We can see all our methods. We have add CD and update CD, load CD to form, reset form. So we can find all of our different things here. If I want to go to my OK button, click, I should be able to just click on this. Double click. There it is. Double click on that class diagram. So you can use that class diagram to navigate if it's getting hard to find things. Beautiful. Now, in our form, we need to add our delete button. So again, I want to copy one of these. Control C, Control V, move it where I want. They all look kind of dumb. I really want them to all be together, right? Kind of be like a newer style. And my delete, I think, oh, you stupid thing. Whenever you can't get it like that, if you hold your control key, you can use your arrow buttons, but it still wants to move around for me in a way I don't like. So I would have to use my location. And I would have to just sneak it over there. 2 more. Ah, close enough. All right, so my delete button, I think, oh, I've got to get this up just a teeny here. Oh, look, I go the other way. And I could look at my other controls to see exactly what they are. For our delete button then, I guess I'll just use an X in our text. And I want to name this button delete. And my little X again looks too big compared to the others, so I'm going to change it to be a minus sign or a hyphen, however you want to call that. That looks good. Now in my delete button, since I have it kind of a weird character, you know, I could be helpful. And let's see. If I had a tooltip, that would be helpful, huh? Don't they have those in my toolbar? So maybe we need to add a toolbar to help people know what these are, huh? We will do that. In the meantime, let's double click on our delete button to add some code. So when somebody clicks this delete button, we need to make sure that they really do want to delete. So let's use a message box. First of all, we need to make sure that there is something selected. Can't do it if it's -1. But if it is not -1, then we want to do some sort of like message box show. And I want to get really fancy with our message box. So far, we only displayed a message. We use this first option where we use a string of text. But let's see what our other options are. Here we can say, didn't like that one. Number 3 says you could display a message box with specified text and caption. Oh, I like that. So first would be my message and then would be my caption. So if we did a message like deleting, are you sure? And then we could say y/n. And then we want our caption to be CD for our name of our application. Now, that's nice, right? Let's run it. Where's my message box? Oh, I gotta click on something first. Message box. Deleting, are you sure? And I need some other stuff because should I have a yes or no? And I don't really need that YN because I don't have buttons. I'm doing all console-y. Okay. So I need a little bit more message box. No, are you sure thing. And I need additional options. So if I type another comma, IntelliSense shows me some more. I'm going to keep going here with the down list. Oh, buttons. Yeah, I would like some buttons. I'd like some buttons like yes, no, or something like that. So can I type buttons? The one of the message box buttons that as a list of things. Can I do message box buttons? Message box buttons dot. Oh, look, it gives us a whole list. We could have okay or okay cancel or yes no or yes no and cancel. Let's just give them yes and no. Okay, and I accidentally deleted my closing parentheses, so I'm going to put that back in. Now, if we're understanding this properly, we should have a message box that gives us this message with this caption and displays a yes and no button. Let's try it. Delete. Oh, there we go. Are you sure? Yes or no? All right. So, how do I know what they clicked? Well, we have to capture that response. Remember last time when we were working with our font control, our common dialogue control, we were able to capture that output. We had something like dialogue box results. No, it doesn't like that. Dialogue results. Oh, look, it likes that. Result equals. Okay, so that should tell us then in our result field what the result was. Did they click yes or no? And then we can check to see if that result equals dialogue result dot. We want yes. If they said yes, we want to delete this one out of our list box. So that's an interesting theory, isn't it? What do we do? Let's see if we can remove it. We have our list box and we have those items. Can we do something to remove one? If we scroll through our IntelliSense, oh, we do have a remove and we have a remove at. Let's do remove at. And remove at says it removes the item at the specified index. And it wants the index passed as a parameter in parentheses. Remove at our current index. Do we need to do anything else? I don't think so. Let's try it. Number 9. Let's delete it. Are you sure? Yes. Ah, it's gone. How about should this stuff all be gone too? What if can somebody click anything that messes us up there? Not really, but we still shouldn't be displaying this. We need to clean some stuff up because right now, if we did an update, it would think that this one still exists and we could crash it. It all worked. That's weird. I guess we can't crash it. We have such a great application that we can't even crash it. But that's not really the way we want it to work. So let's close this. In our delete, after we remove that item, we want to clear all of that detailed data out of our form. So we had some sort of reset form. And then besides resetting, we would be best if we disabled everything. So our enable, disable, we want nothing to be enabled. Because remember, it was displaying, so it was already showing us something. So it kind of left over some things. And then we want our message text box to be updated. See, looks pretty good. Click it, delete it, say no, nothing happens, delete it, say yes, it goes away, and it says audio CD deleted in a really ugly font. So that looks pretty good. My OK button, I can't do anything to break it. I think everything is the way we want. The only thing I can think of is that if they click this or this, either of our update or delete buttons, and they don't have anything selected, we're just kind of ignoring them, which is fine. So you could have a message box display, you could do any sort of thing there to notify them if you wanted to. But I think we're in pretty good shape. What do you think? Does it work? Got workers. I'll get this posted. I know there's a lot of pieces. Now, if yours is not working, at this point, it would be best if you just referred to the example that I post and tried to get yours working so that you can really understand where the pieces are. We're at a point in time now where you know I would prefer not posting this finished application because you lose so much knowledge if you just take it and use it as is. That's not going to really get you anywhere. What is going to get you someplace is if you figure out how all the pieces fit together and why yours isn't necessarily fitting together. Now, again, we're getting like really close to the end of the semester. Weirdest semester ever, but we are getting close to the end of it. So let me help you if you're having problems. If you're not understanding how the pieces fit together, the debugger will help you. We'll try to help you with that too. Questions? Okay, on Quizlet, I combined our different Quizlet packs or whatever. Thought I had it open. I probably did and closed it. So I created a new deck that is the Unit 3 exam. So you can search for that on Quizlet. On Quizlet, if you're not associated with these decks, you should be able to find the links in Canvas. If you're ever just like on your phone or something and want to find them, just search for that username, Mrs. Riley 358, and that should be associated with most all of the decks that I have created. Okay, for the Unit 3 exam, keeps bothering me about paying. For the Unit 3 exam, I'm going to start a Quizlet Live. We're not going to have teams on this one, so you're going to be each man or woman out for themselves. Let's see who can take this information from Quizlet and glean the most information out of it. I'm going to create a game. Individuals. I think I'm going to choose this way where it asks you the term and then gives you the definitions. I hope that'll make more sense than the other way. Okay, so how do you play? Let me find it. Can you see that screen behind me, apparently? I have the instructions open. That's what I thought. You need that code, huh? I'm trying to find the instructions. It's supposed to just work all awesome-y. Your students can now join from their mobile. Ah, it was just an informational display. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see who can smash everybody else here. Yay, call us in. Woohoo. Is everybody else away from their keyboard? We see 7. What do you see, Anton? Oh, here, let me type it in the chat. Then 726-238. We've got a few. You guys are doing great. Let's see if it actually works. Quizlet updates for the pandemic to allow people to play individually. See if it's possible. What are you missing? Oh, let's see. Greg's in. Cole's in. Chase is in. Jacob's ready. Tori and Nico, I don't know. They might be away. Are we going to try it? You guys in play? Okay, I'm going to start it. We can watch them. Here we go. Not much team going on there. Do you see questions? I do not. Oh, cool. Look, we don't see everybody's name, so that's nice. Did you guys know what you were? I guess you'll know it's you. Got a cheetah out on the prowl. Rhino's not going to take it. There we go. Oh, no. That was a hard question, or one that didn't make any sense. Could be a not making sense one. Oh my goodness. Look at that Puma and Lynx getting ahead. Ah. I like that you guys are all plural. Every version of yourself. That Puma's person going for it. Are they gonna win it? Oh, Greg takes the lead. All righty. I'm gonna exit. Okay, so don't forget that's out there. That study set has chapter 7, 9, and 10 from that PDF in it. Yay, Greg. So good job. So you've got some study material out there. Again, it's all just keywords, you know, word recognition. Some of the stuff in chapter 10 is definitely keywords that we have not really looked at, more information that they just kind of mention in that PDF document. They don't really do a lot with it either, just kind of mention it. So some of it is just terminology. All right, any questions before we end? Because remember, I'm not going to get with you on Wednesday. So don't forget about that. Don't think that you're doing something wrong if you don't show up on Wednesday. No Wednesday. I'll post that little presentation with the plan, but don't forget it could change. The PDF that is at the beginning of each lesson, basically it's posted to the overview document, that Doyle PDF. And if you haven't been looking at it, then maybe you don't want to. Let me bring it up. He doesn't want to at this point. It's been doing so good. Maybe you're better off without it. And it won't let me change this opening page. I don't know why. There's some sort of problem with Canvas. When I try to change it, it just hangs. So that's why you're stuck with the first 8 weeks. Remember, the second 8 weeks though are here, but of course we're doing things a little different. So if you go to any module, here's GUI Basics. Here's the link to the Doyle PDF, and that's the one I'm referring to. So that link should be in every one of these overview pages, because it's really, really old, but not quite old enough. So it's downloading. As you use it, you can have issues where it won't display things. Just close it and reopen it. It's just the best information that we have on forms-based. Yes. Yes, the PDF will help a lot with the test. The question bank matches this PDF document more than it matches our textbook for these chapters especially. Quizlet will help also. So let me know if you run into any trouble. Again, that exam is set to be available. I'm gonna double check. Until Wednesday night. No class on Wednesday so that you can take that exam, right? Just the Wednesday class. After that, come back to our Zoom sessions. We just have like 3 more after that. So let's do it. We can do it. Just Wednesday. Any more questions? Get them out there. Yeah, the project is still due on that day. So after you look at the project, you should start taking a look at the final. I don't want to show it to you right now because I haven't eliminated the requirements for the reading and writing a text file. So I will get those eliminated. And so Wednesday, after you're done with your exam and you've got your hands-on done, you might want to start taking a look at that final and start planning. So you do have things to do to work on. Yeah, I was going to have you present, but I think that we just need to take that exam. It's just too much on everybody to have to do the Zoom session and then do an exam on their own. A lot of people have a lot of pressing things going on at their house. No, actually, there's a lot of people that are working. So, but if you want to present, make a quick video and send it to me, and I would love to see it. But as far as points, I won't require that. Is that okay? Sound good with everybody? Let me know if you need more work to do, you need less work to do, you know, whatever kinds of requirements you have. If you'd like more practice, can sure give you more practice. So I just kind of was trying to back off on some of our assignments a little bit so that it wouldn't be quite so overwhelming. You guys have been doing a great job being at the Zoom sessions, acting like, you know, everything's fine. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Any other questions? No, you do not need to do that. Cool. Cole is asking if you guys have to do a Zoom presentation for that project. And no, that is not required. Just make sure it's in TFS and turn it into Canvas. And do send me any questions you have. I would rather you be asking, because it is so much harder for us to communicate this way, because I'll think that something's perfectly clear, and then when I see it from your point of view, I'm like, oh, well, let me add a little bit. So please let me know if you have any questions or something that seems weird. Stay on Discord here in this last little bit as we're finishing up the semester here towards the end. Stay on Discord, keep those questions coming. Let's make sure everybody, you know, knows what's required and knows what they need to do. Things are changing just a little bit. So, okay, guys, if there's no more questions, then I will see you a week from today. Take your exam, get all that stuff done. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.